G'day. Welcome to Diecast Salvage in Gravesend, Australia. Today, I hope to do some justice to today's castings, which are some Dinky toys, Vauxhall Victor's Estates. Two are yellow estates or station wagons. The other two are ambulances. As you watch the castings go around the turntable, I'd like to thank the friends of the channel for returning. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. If you're a first-time viewer, I hope you stay and share what sometimes a bubbling old fart like me gets up to, trying to give these old die-cast toys a new life. So, now let's take a closer look at today's offerings. Well, here we are, our excuse me, our Dinky Toys Vauxhall Victor Estate or station wagon, depending on where you come from. Now, in a previous video in photogrammetry, I was showing how to make parts, and I use these as an example to make a 3D printed part. And the reason I did that was, well, that one there is missing a hinge. This one here that one there was a reproduction. This one here, which is the one that I was using, I broke. And this one here and this tailgate here is an original. So again, through the, I'll see if I can leave a link to how I made this. So we'll keep the video fairly short, I think. So the difference between this 3D printed and the original is that the 3D printed is slightly thicker, but it does, if I get my thing right, get it in the right vehicle, Michael, because some of them still have the window unit in it and some don't. Bear with me as we try and so that we can have that in there. And have it closed properly like that. That's the end game of it. So the rest of the vehicles, well, this one's not in too bad a condition. If it didn't have the broken tailgate, on it. I most likely would have left it as it is, because this one, which had the reproduction tailgate in it, as you can see, is a much worse condition paint-wise. But everything else is there. Window unit is good. It does have its rubber tyres, as does this one. I was just wondering if they're my rubber tyres that I've made, or they're somebody else's. I'll check that later when we pull it apart. Alright, now these two originally did have good tailgates, but like I said, I broke one. Shame on me. But on this one, the extended roof, or the air conditioning, or whatever you like to have in it, was loose. So as you can see, there isn't that much difference between the yellow version and this white version. So umming and ahhing whether to keep it as an ambulance or we turned it into a station wagon. This one we need to make tyres for. Either make tyres or we do a wheel swap. I think we'll make our own tyres for it, because we have the means to do it. Not going to 3D print the tyres. The weather here, or the temperature here in Australia at the moment, is in winter. And it's too cold to print. I was lucky to get a 3D print. So we have enough to have for opening doors. Or do we? Yes, we do. I could glue this one back together. I may still do that. I may still do that. But in the meantime, we shall do some disassembly. So stay tuned. So before we go to our strippers, I'll show you how I make my tyres, as I did previously, by using a silicone rubber mould, making my tyre using some Sikaflex. In this case it's 227, 221 will do. This is the same stuff that they use to glue your modern day screens into your cars. You can get some 2-part urethane glue as well, just like Paul Restorer does. This is going back up the tube the other way. So we'll make it go down the right way. I'll bring you back when I open it up. Now I'm hoping that we're getting our stuff out the tube, don't know yet. She's been a while. So, she's definitely been a while. And I most likely didn't seal this up properly. Does happen. Does happen on occasions. Is she coming up or not? Alright, I'll bring you back with a new tube. Alright, I've broken out a new tube. This is the 291 version as opposed to the 227. all we're doing is letting it fill our master. This can be messy. And we're just putting a little bit on the other side as well. These moulds are made previously, but they can be used over and over again. That's the beauty part of making these moulds. So let's close this up so it becomes nice and airtight. The previous one that we had wasn't airtight, hence why we had the problem with it drying out. Let's see if I can find my little stick. This should do. All we're doing is making sure that we're going around the whole outside. Same thing here. Because now we are closing this on top. And if we've done it right, we should be able to squeeze them out the side. That we have done. Like I said, this can become messy. So we're putting that there. We're going to put a bit of weight on the top. And we'll come back after that has been set. Stay tuned. Okay. We should be set by now. And we are. So let's have a look at our tyres. As we take them off, we'll put our mould away because it's nice and clean. And what I need to do now is cut this out, and we shall put it on one of our cars. So I'll cut these off camera, and we'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Okay, the mould which I had to try and make these tyres, they are slightly too big, and I don't have the right size mould, but we're going to make some now. I've already got, these are 3D printed tyres which do fit those hubs, but these are not rubber tyres. These are solid, so they won't go over the hubs. So what we're going to do is, that's why we have this, our mould box. We're going to make some rubber tyres with the silicone putty. Going to make the mould, and then we're going to use the Sikaflex. So we have 2-part silicon putty. We have an A, we have a B. Now we just knead these together until it's a uniform colour. Love playing plasticine. Got a bit of time to work with it. Once we have it a uniform colour, just make it into a bit of a square. Of course, we now put it in our mould, and now we flatten it out. Just need to get it roughly in where we need it. We now use another block of Lego. Well, I do, just to get rid of the hills and valleys. As you can see, all we're trying to do is make it all flat. You might need to raid the kids. Play box for your Lego blocks. All I'm trying to do is get the edges in to there. Okay, that's that part of it ready. Now we put our tires into a position. And we'll get them down to about halfway. So we're about halfway. So we now need to let that silicon putty go off, which is usually about 20 minutes. And then we do another 2 parts together. We go over the top. What we do in the middle is put a little bit of petroleum jelly. You can use Vaseline if you like, because that's all Vaseline is. Petroleum jelly. And you can then do your mould with your Sikaflex. Anyway, we're going to let that go off, and we shall see you shortly. Stay tuned. Alright, the first part of our 2-part mould is set, so we're just going through with our Vaseline. The idea is that the Vaseline or petroleum jelly is a release agent, because silicon will stick with silicon, and so we need to be able to separate them. Plus you can put a bit of petroleum jelly on your lips so you don't get cracked lips. We're just making sure we've got all our areas covered. That we have. So again, we get our 2 pieces of putty and start mixing. Doesn't take all that long to mix, as you can see. And all we're going to do now is fill up the hole. I'm just going over the wheels first. You can do it any way you like. My really preferred method is the liquid silicone rubber, but I haven't ordered any of that for a while because I do have a 3D printer, and the reason I'm not using the 3D printer is that it's too cold here at the moment, because the ideal temperature for 3D resin printers, that is temperature somewhere roughly about the 28 degrees Celsius mark. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. I'll let you use the Google machine to sort that one out. Yes, I do have a heater inside my Anycubic Photon Mono 2 3D printer. I have a heater inside there, and I usually have that set to 30 degrees. But it's the outside ambient temperature and moisture that affects your 3D printing as well, or resin 3D printing. I have had the vat band, the same band that you use on when you're making your own grog. I've had that around my vat as well to heat up the resin that way. But it still comes to the ambient temperature outside does also affect. So that's now covered and sealed. So I need to now let that one set off, and we shall bring you back when we use our Sikaflex to put in there. So stay tuned. Okay, we've taken it out of the mold box. We shall open. You can take that out. Put them aside safely. Now we do the same thing as what we've did before. We get our Sikaflex. Put it into our holes. Let it come away. A little bit more in that one. Because we're wanting all the holes to be filled. We'll close up our tube. So that's what it looks like up there. And when we squeeze, it's messy. All the noises in the background. All right, so all we're doing now is we're going to squish, put it up there, squash it together so that we have our oozy, oozy coming out. That there. We'll put something nice and heavy on top so that it can compress, and I shall leave that alone for a little while, and I hope to see you shortly. Stay tuned. All right, let's see how we did with our tie remake. We get our CLR out the way. So we take our top off. It's very cold here at the moment. So there's one side. There's our other side. Yeah, a bit of deformation. That's all right. We can put that on the inside. So we'll put our mould away. And I'll work on that later. Now I'm just going to let this set up for a little while, and then I'll cut this out and we shall put it onto a vehicle. A lot of times don't need to cut out, it will separate by itself. Let's see if we can do one. They'll all need tidying up. So, all right, I'll do that off camera. See you in a moment. Okay, I warn you now that you need your earmuffs on, because I'm going to use my burr tool to show you how I take the rivet heads off these castings. So I'll give you a count to 3 to either 1, get some earmuffs on, or 2, turn the volume down. When the volume is down, what I'll do is I'll give you a thumbs up. That means you can turn the volume back on again. Okay, get ready. 1 and a 2 and a 3. Okay, you should be able to hear me now without the noise. And I'll try and start in the centre and work my way out. We should have enough to take the base off. Yes, no, not quite enough. So that's because the others came off quite easily. I'll just take these tyres off. These are the tyres which I made in our previous scene. I'll put them to one side so we know that they're nice and soft. Yeah, just need to take a little bit more off. So block your ears because we're going sound again. Where is it? I've got to turn it on. Yes, I usually go a side to side. I usually go to a side to side over the top, and that will see when we do things off camera it works easily because all those came off nice and easy. And this shiny part that you're seeing here, they'll disappear should we paint the base. Because the other way I could do it is go like this as well. Just give me a tick. See, we can go like that, and unless you turn the thing upside down, you won't notice it. So there's that. Now, there is a difference between the interior for this one to one of those ones, and I'll show you that in a moment because we've still got to take this one apart, because now we need to do the same thing just in here. The window unit has the piece there, and as you can see it's been punched. We have the telltale crack this way and the telltale crack going that way. So you could try and use Martin D's method of using the soldering iron with a piece going around the outside. I haven't set one up as yet. I don't like to use the drill, hence why I use the burr tool. The same thing with the burr tool. I'll go over the top until it's nice and level, and then we'll get the glass out. So get your earmuffs or lower the volume. Here we go. Still a bit to go. I hope you saw that. The glass is out. There it is there. It is broken here. But we will put an additive in because that is the part that holds the tailgate in. Just bear with me for a moment. It goes in there like so. The tailgate sits in there. Let me sit this in right. Excuse me. Yes, tailgate sits in there. If you notice, there's two grooves here. That's where this part of the hinge sits in. Like so. And when the window unit goes in, right, there's usually another piece of plastic, or there was, that sits over that cages that whole thing in. So we need to make something to make that flap. In any case, all right, we're almost done. We'll take that screen out. We'll take that door out, put it over there. Now this part, this here, should just about pop out. Just get a handy dandy screwdriver. Yes. What will happen is the screwdriver with a very thin blade, or again you can grind out these two pieces. That might be the idea. So again, hold your ears. I'll grind it because this is the better one of the two. I think I made enough noise on that. That should be enough to break that free. You may need to do a little bit more. Let me just get him behind us. Like I said, once you grind that piece down, screwdriver in there, up pops the base. There's our two holes. So when it goes back in, I'll just clean off those burrs a little bit so that we can super glue them back in again. And in this case we may not have to, because I've left just enough burr on there, which is what I generally like to do. In any case, that's that part of it. Now, let me put the window unit back in this one. Put that one over there, put that over there. We'll put the tyres over there. Now, what I said, the difference between this one from the ambulance to these yellow ones. These are a slightly better vacuum formed. It's not stiff like this. See how thick the plastic is there compared to that. That's wafer thin. Plus, these don't have wheel arches like we do here. Plus, these don't have a driver. The ambulance does. So, I can do one or two things. Is, yes, leave them like that. Or I can make a casting of this, including the driver. Now the poor man, no wonder he's in the ambulance. He's got no legs. He's been chopped. He's got his arsehole chopped out. See, he's done a poop. He's missing his legs below the knee. Anyway, we'll sort that out in a few moments. These have already been pulled apart. So I'm going to play with some strippers. When we come back, close your eyes if you don't want to see nudity. See you in a moment. Stay tuned. Yes, I heard you. They're the beacons, right here. All right, I'm heading off to the strippers. I'm going to have some fun. You can use your imagination for your strippers. If you don't want to see nudity or offended by it, look away now. I've been with my strippers. The stripper looked fantastic on it. And because our strippers like nudity, like I do, here we go. And now, we're stripped, we're polished. This is the reproduction door from the likes of Steve Flowers' recovered toy. I don't know who, because it came with the model. This is the other ambulance that has an original door on it. this is, as you can see, one of the yellow ones, which has a My reproduction door on it. From 3D printing. As I try to fit it again. There we go. She sits beautifully. And here is the other one. Again, all working nicely. So, the next time you'll see these vehicles will be most likely in primer before I paint, as I have, if I look at my, as soon as I get my program to open up, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll have 5 inspirations to work with these two. They're not going to go yellow. I've already decided on that. Yes, they're not going to be yellow. They're going to be different. While I like playing with something, because I've been with a stripper. Of course, playing with the car. Naughty, naughty. Yeah, so these may become ambulances again. They may not. You'll have to stick around for that one. The next scene will involve the vehicles. So you will see... Yeah, sort of fumble mouth is loose lips is about. So next scene. What we're going to do for the next scene? What we might do for the next scene is clean up our interiors. That's what we might do, is clean up our interiors. The scene after that is to do a repair on the window units to make them go from that to that, because we need this part here. But then again, I might do that off screen. Who knows? Only I will know eventually. So, one of 3 things will happen. You'll either see these being cleaned. You may see me fixing these. Or you may see those in primer. Stay tuned. So stick around. Okay, we're going to see if we can make or repair these window units. This is the good one. And what I've done is taken just the masking tape, stuck it over the end piece there to get my measurement. Now, these ones, this one here, we'll compare. Yeah, it should work. It should work the way I want. But as you can see, that is slightly different. Because that's out of an ambulance window. How do I know? Because there's a protrusion here and that one over there. Well, this one's also out of the ambulance. And see, this one here is out of the other yellow one. Okay, I'm going to have to rethink. See, this is what happens when you rush. This is what happens when you rush. You need to rethink. So, let's put Bubble Brain back in its holder, and I shall bring you back shortly. Okay, now that I've shifted the rocks in my heads and gave it a good talking to. So, again with the masking tape, I took a measurement that covers the end of where we need to be up here to cover our hole for inserting. Now I have some clear PETG plastic that I use for vacuum forming. This is a cut up sheet. So if I can get me fumble fingers to work the scissors, all we're going to do is to cut up here. Here we go with a straight line. Three pieces of tape there. Just need to go up a little bit more. A little bit more that way. There we go. So I can put that clear plastic away. Now I can cut these where I need them to be. Just trim that edge off slightly so we're nice and square. There we go. We'll cut this one. And we'll cut that one. So theoretically we should be able to glue them in place like so, and it should cover our end. So I will glue them in off camera and we'll see what happens. Catch you in a mo. You may need to put some sunglasses on because we're going to use our clear UV hard resin to glue our new extension pieces in. So we're going to put a little bit of a drop there. And a drop there. That's all we need. Just clean up the tip. I do love this UV clear hard resin, because all we then do is, if I work my way around you, is slide that into place. Here's our other piece. We slide that into place as well. Just move it around to where we need it. Now we can put it underneath our UV light. We'll let that go for 60 seconds. Actually, no, we'll change that around to 90 seconds. So let that cure. We have 70 seconds left. $50 seconds left. I'll keep you here for the duration. Nothing else to do as yet. 40 seconds to go. I hope you're reading a book. And 30 seconds to go. I can hear you counting. 20 seconds to go. Go on, you can count. We're down to 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. Let's hear you shout it. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the light goes off. But that is enough to have that there, almost as good as, or almost as fast as super glue and the baking soda. Just take the other one off as well. As you can see, it's clear. So now I'll go with a drill to go through the hole up there so that we can fit the things in. So I'm just going to put it in for another 90 seconds. I might keep you around just to make sure it's cured on both sides, and we'll move on. Stay tuned. This is just a reminder as to what I started with at the beginning of today's episode. And here we are. Now, here we are with our Dinky Toys Vauxhall Victor estate vehicles, 2 of them being the standard estate or station wagons, and 2 of them being the ambulance version. So, what have we done with them? We've done a fair bit. We have used photogrammetry to replace a rear door, or tailgate if you like. So if you want to see the photogrammetry, you'll have to go back to my back catalogue. We've stripped and repainted them. We have functioning doors on all of them. I've made myself some New South Wales ambulance decals, which you see on the white ones, as opposed to just the ordinary red stripe. We've detailed the fronts. We've detailed the tail lights and the indicators on the back. With one of them, we have, let's see if we can line these up nicely, because it's the one that I haven't touched yet, that I've given a new base to, as well as doing a wheel swap. I'll still have the original base here, but I've used a cheap Chinese vehicle and turned it into a push-pull vehicle, pullback if you like. So it still has an interior. It is sitting up slightly higher on the front, but that's something I can adjust a little bit later. But yeah, so I do apologise for delay in getting videos out. We've got a few things going on at the moment. I'm happy with this result that we've had with the tailgates. This tailgate here is the reproduction. This tailgate here is the 3D printed one. And this one here is also a 3D printed tailgate on the ambulance because I broke one of the originals. So, there you go. Don't forget to like and share the video. That way we get the algorithms and we get more views. And by all means, please leave a comment down below. Ask questions and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Come over to my Diecast Salvage in Gravesend Australia Facebook page, where you might see some stuff behind the scenes that you don't see here on my YouTube channel. Also, you can join us on Friday nights at the Diecast and Modelers Community Tavern, virtual tavern, where some of us get together and we, like an ordinary pub or tavern, we just have a good time. We talk about what our projects are, what is upcoming, anything that we learnt new. Just for instance, like the photogrammetry that I put up a few weeks ago. How to make tyres, how to do wheel swaps, how to make windscreens, paint jobs, decals. We have all these sorts of discussions. Plus, we also look after each other, like a men's shed. So, you're never lonely in a DMC tavern. All right, enough waffling for me. Again, like and share and leave a comment down below. And I hope to see you next time at Diecast Salvage in Gravesend, Australia.